This video chart presentation of ONVO Holdings. It's an OTCQX listed company, trading on our ticker ONVO. So look at a 9-month chart and see the stock's had a real nice climb over that period, coming off lows around $1.50, forming another base up near $2, spike all the way up to $6.30 in the beginning part of the year, retraced right back down to a pretty strong area of support, and some nice movement on Tuesday up over 12%. So I want to keep this chart on technical watch, see if this rise is going to continue, and see if it can push back through this 50-day moving average. Now the price per share falling off the highs. MACD's certainly been in retrace mode. I see the histogram bars are trending back towards zero. Right now just to the negative side of things, which means it looks like there's going to be a bullish cross the 12 passing through the 26 EMA, which could be signaling that this chart's ready to go through an overall trend reversal. This is a classic type of reversal position for the ADX with the negative DI up on top, positive DI down low. All three components registering right around that 20-25 mark now. That's pretty neutral. But with the positive DI starting to make its move upward, I'll be looking for that to break through the ADX itself, and again give hints that the positive direction of the chart is starting to gain some steam. MFIs basically trending in bear chart territory, holding below 50, making some early on turns, but all three components need to push back through that upper side of 50 to lend support of the idea of a bullish chart forming, similar to back through here, move through 50, and that's when the stock price starts appreciating. Accumulation distribution. This is actually a pretty positive sign that it's held steady, basically in a box over the last few months. Even with the price per share falling, there hasn't been any stark drops, which means there hasn't been any huge amounts of selling that's come into the play. So again, that's optimistic because nobody wants to see a whole bunch of selling going on in a chart. It's also reinforced by the Chaikin money flow, just below zero at this point. It says over the last 20 periods, buying and selling pressure is relatively equal. CCI making its break through negative 100. Bottom feeders will use that as a buy point. It'd be a hold until it breaks back down through negative 100. Full stow, it's very early on, trying to come out of a little bit of oversold territory. Not getting much from the full stow, but a rotation off that bottom signals very early on signs of momentum coming into the play. The tricks is a lagging indicator. Typically won't get much from that on a retrace either, but it is notable it's starting to flatten out. And what I'd look for is a rotation, a bullish cross, and then a break back up through zero to signal a bullish trend is once again starting. RSIs, they're a gauge of momentum like the full stow, but broadly speaking move much more quickly. You can see the snap action that's gone on with 2 green closes, 7 RSI bouncing out of oversold territory all the way up breaking through 50, which is exactly where I want to see it. As with other indicators, I'll look for all 3 components of the RSI to move to the upper half and hold that spot to show that bullish momentum is being sustained in the play. Now what's interesting about this from a candle standpoint is I see how this 325 mark all the way up to 339 back here, let's call it a general area of support, is being held. Classic TA fashion, that was a resistance point, broke through it, stock price went much higher, pulled back, held that area. Again, another nice bounce, it's about 30%, dropped back to that level support, and once again it looks like it's going to hold it. Now it's important that it holds that area, for starters because it is a pretty good area of support from a static standpoint, but it's also keeping the price per share over top of the 200-day moving average, which is important in technical analysis. And also for the fact it doesn't pick up much more support if it falls through that until dropping down much lower, down around this $2.60 mark. That's a pretty healthy fall from closing at $3.75. So for many reasons, it's important that this mark holds. Now to the upside of things, I think there's some resistance right around $4. Little bit of resistance in the past in the early part of January. Certainly served as a resistance point at the end of January and then into February and March. 50-day moving average is right there. It's dynamic. It's starting to crack down on that area. Right now registering a 412. But it is moving south, and it's going to lend some dynamic resistance to that spot as well. But if the reversal does continue and it breaks through that mark, I think it's going to pick up some more secondary resistance around 450 or so. But right off, that's a nice climb from its closing price. And I don't really see resistance starting to pick up a little bit stronger until up near $5. Then, of course, talking top end, trying to make some new highs. But I stay near-term focused. First thing I worry about is this $4 mark. And I'd watch to see how it responds if it can make it to 5. But if that does happen, that'll start curling this 50-day upward. It'll help support the idea of the 200-day curling upward, and the chart will be taking on a much more bullish long-term look to continue this basic uptrend that it's been putting together for the better part of the last year. Volume's not too big of a concern, 566,000 shares traded. That's enough liquidity. I'd like to see it a little bit stronger, but that's right about average volume levels for it. As with any other chart, the bigger the volume surge to break through resistance points, the more supportive it is of the upward trend continuing. Those are the type of things that I'd be looking for in the ONVO chart. But as always, merely my interpretation. Thank you for watching and trade smart.